everyone. I'm Katie Darrell, and today we are at home and social with the Grammy-winning Lauren Daigle. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so glad to be with you, Katie. Thank you.
Well, hey, tell me, what type of day are you having today? Like, has it been an easy day or a stressful day? What's the mood?
No, it's been amazing. So this morning I went on a walk, and it's been raining, so I got to go on a walk in the rain, which is pretty fun. I feel like anything that you can do to just keep yourself like a child, especially during these times, it's a lot of fun. And then I had a co-write with a dear friend. Her name is Ellie Holcomb. And we just wrote this song that it kind of came out of nowhere. It was one of those like songs that happened in like 15 minutes and you're like, what just happened? And so I'm really excited about it. So it's been a great morning, and now I'm going to have a great interview. How awesome.
Here's to hoping, right?
Yeah.
All right, so I think we have to keep our eye on the prize here, and we got to talk about June 6th. Big stuff happening on June 6th. Give me the lowdown.
Yes. Okay. Actually, that's kind of fun that we're talking about June 6th, because Ellie, and what I'm pointing to when I point right here is the song that we just wrote, like some of the words and stuff. Anyway, Ellie is actually one of the people that was a guest on that show. And it's Ellie Natalie Hemby, who has written incredible songs. She's also a part of the High Women with Maren Morris and Brandi Carlile. And then John Foreman, who is a dear friend of mine, he's in Switchfoot. And Petey Martin, who I just did my very first song with, called Come Back Home. He's a writer for Kygo, and yeah, it was so much fun. It was my first show back with a live audience since March. We did like 2 shows that people were out in their cars and stuff and like sectioned off, and we were in a big field. So that wasn't very standard as far as the way I've done shows. This was the first show where people were in a room together, all enjoying music together, that I've done since COVID hit back in March of 2020. So I walked out on stage to actual applauses, and tears filled my eyes, and I walked over to the band and I was like, keep playing, keep playing, keep playing, because I'm going to lose it. It was just, if you love touring, if you love performing and singing with your audience every night, it's been really hard to be home and not have those kind of interactions. So this show encompasses all the newness and being so green. I feel like I have to work my muscles back up to being on stage again.
Well, do you have rituals that you go through before hitting the stage, whether it's vocal exercises or, you know, I eat this every night because I trust that I won't throw up? Because
Oh yeah. So I'm kind of wild when it comes to food. I eat everything. Like, I don't necessarily limit anything. If I'm having an upset stomach, I might not have too much dairy, but that kind of just goes par for the course. But I remember, this is kind of off topic, but there was a period where they're like, don't drink coffee before you go on stage because it will dehydrate your vocal cords. And I used to like have all these stipulations, like I can't have dairy, I can't have coffee, I can't enjoy this, can't enjoy this, can't. And I realized this isn't living. Like, I'm on stage and I want to be vibrant and alive with so many people. I can't like cut off part of who I am prior to the show and then expect myself to just be who I am right when I get on the show. That's creating bad habits for myself. And so I found this vocal coach, this therapist I started working with at Vanderbilt, and she was like, oh no, have coffee before your show. Like, if that's what's going to make you feel good and feel alive, go for it, and your voice will actually overcompensate. And I was like, don't tell the others, because that's like the opposite of what I've always been told, but it really worked. And so sometimes I might just have like a sip of coffee, like drink an espresso or something, and then like jump out on stage. But one thing I definitely do before every single show is vocal exercises. Like, I call my vocal coach, and we warm up every single day together. So yeah, that's something I feel like I'll probably be 60 and still doing that.
So June 6th, you will have a streaming concert. It will air in 2 different time zones so people can enjoy it and don't have to, wait up or, get up at an awkward time. But
Yes.
it was at the Ryman Theater. Why? How did you choose this venue?
Oh, yay. Okay, so I've lived in Nashville for the past 8 years. And we have a lot of friends that live there, a lot of like Nashville folks. And my manager, she kind of came up with this idea, honestly. She was like, you've been writing so much with so many new people. What if y'all did a show together? Like, it could kind of be a fun way to show off some of the new songs and also a way for you to get to do music with your friends. And what do you think about that? And I was like, oh my gosh, I would love that idea. Because it's just so fun to sing songs that haven't been heard by anyone ever, except for the people who wrote it, Yeah. That you only get those opportunities so many times in your writing career. And so I was like, yeah, let's do that. So the Ryman is a very historic venue, and I've played there several times, and just, the way that it feels in the room and the way that people come alive in that venue, the way that the songs come alive in that venue, it was just really, really special. And so she threw out a list of venues, and the Ryman was the one that worked out. And I'm so glad, because I feel like I did a thing with American Idol during the quarantine, and I actually sang in the Ryman for that completely alone, like totally isolated, no audience, barely any people. Like I think there might have been 5 of us in the building. Like, when I mean socially, like it was like back in the thick of the quarantine, and it was haunting. It was so strange to see a place in a venue that's typically so alive, it's roaring with people, to have nothing. And I think it was just very apropos and fitting that we came back to that venue to release our first show.
I think it's pretty interesting also talking about the American Idol thing, if you don't mind. Let's not jump into that.
Yeah.
But, I mean, listen, 2020 had you performing at the finale for American Idol. And rewind, you had tried out or auditioned 3 different times. Is that correct for American Idol?
Yes. Fail. I got
like,
to know.
Well, look who's calling me now. Please hold.
Oh my
yes.
God. Yeah. Sure, I'll come. Yeah, it's so funny because Megan, she was actually, she's one of the producers now, and she was also one of the producers back when I was on the show. The crazy part is that was 12 or 13 years ago. Like, it's wild to think. That felt like yesterday. But anyway, so she is still the producer. And when I walked in and saw her, I was like, oh my gosh, Megan. She was like, yeah, girl, we didn't forget. I was like, oh my gosh. Because they see tens of thousands of people every year in auditions, and the amount of B-roll that they have to go through. Sure. I thought for sure it's been 13 years. Y'all have seen, almost 1 million people, because they see roughly 100,000 people per season. And so I was like, what in the world? And for this show that they did, the comeback show, she came into my dressing room and she said, you know what's crazy is I realized you've actually never been a part of any of the main stage performances. And I was like, never. Because the 3 years that I tried out, first year I made it to Hollywood. I got cut the show before the live shows. My second year, I got the flu, didn't even make it to Hollywood. And then my third year, I made it to Hollywood, and then I made it on to the Las Vegas rounds, and then got cut the round before the live shows again. So it's funny because I actually never made it to the big stage where America votes and all of that. So it was kind of fun to get to be a part of a show that I had never seen quite yet,
Right. Well, I mean, you've had the opportunity to do a lot of cool experiences, even in quarantine, from, like you said, you got to be on the finale, perform at the finale for American Idol. You also did the finale for The Voice in 2020. And then we go even backwards before then. I mean, getting to accept 2 Grammy Awards. Don't mind if I do. Do you have those moments where you look at your career and it sometimes feels like an out-of-body experience, and you have to remind yourself to remember those moments?
100%. I wrote a letter to my manager the other day with just like mile markers, like thanking her for being a part of this journey with me. And when I went through, I started listing certain things, and I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe we did that. Oh my gosh, I can't believe we did. Oh my gosh, I can't believe we've been a part of that. Like, where have I been? And if there's one thing that the quarantine has taught, it's to soak up every single moment and to not go so fast that you miss out on the grandeur of what each opportunity is presenting. Because I think, it gets very fast. And I remember I was talking with one of my friends and telling them my schedule, and I was like, oh, I'm going to have to be here at this time, and then I have to do American Idol here, and then I'll be doing the voice this thing, and then I have to jump here and do. And I'm just like rolling through my schedule, and they looked at me and they're like, are you crazy? And I was like, what? They're like, did you just hear every single thing that you just said? Mm-hmm. And I like sat back, and they're like, no, seriously, think about that. If your like teenage self knew that you were just going to be rolling off your schedule, do you think that you'd probably be a little shocked that this is the world that you're living in? And I was like, oh my gosh, may this never become mundane. Like, this is such a wild journey. The 2 Grammys, that is one of those moments. Like, I remember after the award show, I didn't go to any parties.
What?
I know. I like crazy. I remember saying, I actually want to revel in this so much. And if I go to the parties, it'll just be like another night on the radar, which the parties are great. It's not to say anything against them. I just knew I want it to be something like a night that I truly remember. And so we rented this house in Malibu, and my family flew in, some of my closest friends flew in, and then they brought their close friends. And it was a night where we literally sat in this house listening to the ocean and told all of the moments that got us to the Grammys. And it was so profound. Like, it's a night I will never forget, because we did exactly what you're talking about. We sat down and we went through each moment of making the record, that we had to push back on this or fight for this or write this lyric or whatever. We went through all of these memories and really relished in the moment. And I feel like that's what makes this experience so alive. Like, taking captive each beautiful moment and not letting them just like slip through your fingers, because it's possible.
Well, so going back through the moments, what was the moment where you realized you had control over your voice and you were a good singer? Because I know it's been said that your mom said you were like a music box growing up in the house, always singing. But, there's kids that do that and not well. What was it like? This feels like you could use your instrument.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. I have two kind of mile markers I can point to. One was because my mom would say that. She went to our choir director at church and said, hey, my daughter sings all over the house all the time. Like, she never stopped singing. I have no idea.
Can you please take her off my hands for an hour?
Literally. Could you please? Because she's driving me nuts. No, I'm kidding. But she was like, she sings all the time. I honestly don't know if she's any good or not, but she's at home singing. And if y'all need somebody to stand on the very last row of the choir, like way in the back, call her. And so he calls me up and he's like, hey, I want you to sing this song. And we were like behind the church.
How old were you? Set the scene.
I was 16 at that point. And I remember going and I sang it very sheepishly. I was so intimidated to sing in front of people. I was like, what? And he said, girl, I've heard you laugh before. You can laugh louder than you're singing. So if you can laugh that loud, then I know you can sing that loud. I want you to sing this song. And I belted out the song, and I thought that was screaming. Like, I didn't know that was belting. Like, I had no reference. I didn't know what singing was. And so I just would listen. I remember listening to like Aretha Franklin and Whitney Houston, Celine Dion, all these powerful female vocalists, and I would just imitate the best that I could around the house, like as a little girl. So I just thought I was screaming. I didn't really know that was singing. And that I remember he heard me sing and he said, okay, you're going to sing this song in church in 2 weeks. Start preparing. And I was like, wait, I haven't joined the choir yet. Like, isn't there like a system to this? And that was a moment that I was like, wait, he really thinks I'm good. But I thought, okay, yeah, sure, I might be good, but I'm maybe just be good for like our little church. And it was like a little tiny kind of country church. Like, it wasn't a very large church. So I was like, maybe I'm just good for the church. And then he was like, you need to start preparing for American Idol. And I was like, really? He was like, no, you have to do American Idol. So I would scrub his toilets. I was his maid. And he would teach me voice lessons. And it was so much fun.
Now it's getting weird.
I know. Well, I would like, I asked him, I said, can I please be your maid? And he was like, what? I was like, no, I don't have money. I'm like a high school kid. And I was like, but I really want to learn how to sing. And I don't know how to pay you, except for I'm really good at cleaning houses. Because we grew up with chores, like growing up and stuff. And so, and I've had some serious OCD tendencies, as so many artists do. And so I was like, I promise I can clean your house well. So he was like, fine. So we start preparing for American Idol. And I go to American Idol. And that audition, it was in Atlanta, Georgia. And there were 10,000 people being auditioned the day that I went. And I got a golden ticket out of the 10,000. And I remember thinking to myself, holy cow, like, this is kind of crazy. I'm from a little small town. Like, I did not expect to make it my very first time ever trying out for something. And so that was kind of a moment that I realized, maybe there's something to this. Maybe I really need to listen to this. So those were my 2 moments.
That is amazing. That is so much fun. Oh, I hear the trains.
I was about to say that I literally was about to reference. I was like, so remember those trains that I just talked to you about? Here they are. They're back.
Oh my goodness. The notebook that's sitting next to you. Can we talk about the notebook?
Oh yeah.
Now, okay, exactly. Yeah, don't leave it open because someone will hit pause, zoom in, and zoom in lyrics.
Wait, yeah, this is what you can absolutely zoom in on. Are you ready?
Sure.
This quote is one of my favorite quotes. I get up every morning determined to both change the world and have one hell of a good time. Sometimes this makes planning my day difficult. E.B. White. If you know me, I am someone that is, the wind will blow me this way and I'll get lost in that, and then the wind will blow me this way and I'll get lost in that. It's just so fitting for that to be the quote on the front of the place where my little world lives, all these songs.
So, let's talk about what's in this notebook. That obviously it's beautiful. It's leather bound. It looks like there's a lot of important lyrics in here. How far back have you been keeping this journal in particular, and how often do you swap to new ones?
Okay, so this journal I actually started at the very beginning of the quarantine. Yeah. So I found it in my, like, one of my cabinets or something, because I get journals quite often, and okay, I'm doing this thing. I'm showing it to you. I do this thing where I write backwards. So I'll start at the center. There's nothing. But all of my songs start opposite of what you would expect. So I'm literally writing the songs backwards and then flip open.
Why?
On this side, I've been learning how to play piano. So these are all of my notes from learning how to play piano. And my goal is that they meet in the middle. So I have songs on one end, piano on one end, and then I just can't wait to see. I feel like there's going to be this serendipitous moment where a song is going to collide with what I'm learning on piano, and it's just going to all make sense. So that's why I did it that way. I love
that you're creating a magical moment. You're like, and then pixie dust will come down
in
the center page.
Yes.
It all makes sense. June
Yeah.
6th, this is your streaming concert. It's going to be so amazing. And friends are joining you. Rattle off who's going to be joining you on this concert.
Yes. John Foreman from Switchfoot, Natalie Hemby from The High Women, Ellie Holcomb, and Petey Martin. Those would be my 4 friends.
And there's a real audience, so we get to hear applause, but those of us enjoying it from home, we can clap too.
Yes. Yes. It's the first time in a year with an audience in the room. So
gonna be
it's
amazing.
so great. Yeah.
June 6th, and tickets are available now.
Yes. LaurenDaigle.com. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure to talk to you. Thanks for giving us the time.
Oh my gosh. Thank you for the time. I really appreciate meeting you, Katie. Thank you. Your questions are great too. And you have so much charisma.
Oh,
Just know
thanks.
that. Yeah.
We
it's
all do
great.
this for a living.
I think you have a future in it, sweetie.
Thanks so
Thank
much,
you.
Lauren. Take care,
All
all
right.
right?
Bye. Thanks.
Bye. Hey there. Thanks for watching Access TV. Subscribe, follow, like, and do all the good stuff. And make sure you leave a comment below. I don't know. Just let us know what your favorite Access TV show is, or who your favorite bands are, and what artists you're into, or just say hi, man. I like to be told hi. We love hearing from you. That's the point, all right? Keep it coming.